Hello, my name is Allison Martin, and I will be presenting on Bny Melon for my Capstone project. Bny Melon is part of the financial services industry, which is made up of four segments: banking, investment services, insurance services, and tax and accounting services. The history of the industry can be broken down into three parts. Prior to the 1970s, the industry consisted of savings and loan associations, brokerage houses, and credit card companies. During the 1970s, there was a decline in banks' profitability stemming from federal regulations. And then in the late 1970s, when OPEC increased oil prices, triggering high inflation rates, consumers began moving away from traditional banks due to low interest rates on savings accounts. Between the period of 1985 and 1992, over 1,200 banks failed, and the industry started to become more diversified. Firms like General Electric and General Motors started offering loans and credit directly to consumers, and by the late 90s, the first large financial services company was born out of the merger between Citicorp and Travelers Insurance to form Citigroup. This was the beginning of the new model in which many firms still exist today, full service providers with offerings across the industry. There's a lot more to cover, so I'm not going to go into details, but as a point of interest, I've listed some notable events that affected the financial services industry that resulted in major changes and reforms. If you have any interest, I recommend looking into them for a better understanding of the financial system. Moving on, we have some key players in the financial services industry and a list of the current trends and driving forces. Of particular interest and applicability to Bny Melon is the trend of digital transformation, as it has become part of Bny Melon's competitive advantage, which as more companies move towards implementing digital, they will have to find a way to stay one step ahead to remain competitive. Under forces, one of the most challenging is definitely cybersecurity, given the Russia-Ukraine geopolitical issues, but also the hybrid working arrangements, as there have been several difficult roads they have had to navigate. Bny Mellon is a federal contractor, and employees, as of this recording, are mandated by law to be vaccinated. A significant portion of the workforce has not been vaccinated or has not been reported to be vaccinated, putting Bny Mellon in a tough position on how to handle these employees. They have made a firm commitment that employees will return to offices at least part-time, putting vaccinated and unvaccinated employees at odds, as one group is being required to return and the other is being given, at least temporarily, permission to continue working from home full-time. Here we have a brief overview of Bny Mellon. We have a lot to cover, so I'll try to make this quick. Bny Melon was formed by the merger of the Bank of New York and Mellon Corporation in July 2007. They quickly became and have sustained being the world's largest custodian bank with $45.5 trillion in assets under custody or administration and $2.3 trillion in assets under management. They are on the annual list distributed by the Financial Stability Board of global systemically important banks, also known as the Too Big to Fail list. Some of their closest rivals are that are of a familiar size and similar product offerings are State Street and Northern Trust. I've also included here their values: passion for excellence, integrity, strength and diversity, and courage to lead. These don't differ much from others in their industry or their competitors. It's perhaps the strength and diversity value that's the most unique. Almost all companies have initiatives geared toward diversity, equity, and inclusion, but it's rare to find amongst Bny Melon's competitors anyone having it listed as one of their core values. Let's move on to the strategic issue identified for Bny Melon: talent retention. We know this is an issue because the attrition rate at the company is increasing year over year, with around 90 employees leaving weekly as of April 2022. And although in a large corporation, it may not seem alarming to have a large number of open roles, these are roles that have not yet been sourced. There are also thousands more in different states of hiring, meaning that there are actually many more roles than this without anyone in a seat doing the job. Some possible causes of the issue are an increasing amount of manual processes being requested by clients who have highly specific needs. There are also outdated policies like the annual review process that Bny Mellon has yet to update to more current standards, and retrenchment by employee displacement. I chose this issue because it's urgent. The rate of attrition and unsatisfaction with working conditions will result in errors affecting the clients and could result in fines for the firm. Additionally, to execute on the strategy that BNY Mellon is pursuing will take a strong, diverse, talented workforce, so it's a prime issue for them. BNY Mellon pursues a strategy of differentiation, which is appropriate where, among other factors, the market is competitive or saturated, customers have specific needs, and the firm has unique resources and capabilities which enable it to satisfy these needs in ways that are difficult to copy. The financial services market is highly competitive, with companies competing for limited clients and assets. BNY Mellon has put in time, effort, and money into developing technology which is difficult to imitate without the exceptionally large investment and insights that BNY Mellon has from their vantage point as the largest global custodian. While some clients do not require a high level of specification, the moderate and large clients often require very tailored solutions, which BNY Mellon attempts to deliver through its differentiated platforms. This goes back to one of our causes of the talent retention issue. If a client's needs cannot be met through technology and must be done manually, often the firm, attempting to keep the clients happy and retain their relationship, will take on the risks of these manual processes, and the work gets added onto existing employees. In some instances, these processes have no revenue attached in an attempt to show clients how BNY Mellon is willing to go above and beyond for their business. This puts additional pressure on employees and can lead to attrition. Over time, BNY Mellon has utilized several different diversification strategies: divestiture, related businesses, and retrenchment. From 2018 to 2020, they divested themselves of 2 legal entities, 1 equity investment, 1 investment management firm, and sold their share of an interest that resulted in a $622 million after-tax gain. In 2021, BNY Mellon made 3 acquisitions into related businesses: a business solutions provider, took on depository and custody activities from another financial services company, and an investment advisor that came with patented software to deliver customized investment solutions. Here again, we see one of our causes of the issue we are trying to solve with retrenchment, or reducing expenses, through employee displacements. The first time this was done as a program with a quarterly cycle was 2017 and continued until 2020, when the pandemic, given the uncertain conditions in the market, made BNY Mellon put the program on pause. In 2021, after market conditions settled, it started up again. These types of programs looming can lower morale and even cause people to leave prematurely to avoid being laid off and look for a less stressful environment. Now, after examining the financial services industry and the internal environment of BNY Mellon, which has provided some causes and evidence why talent retention is an issue for the firm, it is now time to offer recommendations on how they can change their practices to solve the issue. The first recommendation is for BNY Mellon to start consistently charging clients for bespoke manual process offerings. Nearly 50,000 manual processes are being performed across BNY Mellon, not all of which go unbilled, but enough to cause undue risk and stress on the operations team to perform, often requiring them to work long hours and weekends to keep up with demand. A healthy work-life balance is essential to job satisfaction, and these practices often keep employees from being able to capture that balance. By charging clients a fair rate to perform these customized services, it would allow the firm to add additional staff without harming the bottom line profits. This would lower the pressure on existing staff and provide a better work environment overall. There could be concern around client dissatisfaction of being charged for processes not previously billed, but in this instance, BNY Mellon needs to put the wellness of their employees above client complaints. The second recommendation is to do away with traditional annual review cycles. Many firms have already abandoned this in favor of a less formal approach, emphasizing more frequent check-ins, more goal setting, and ongoing dialogues taking place. This would also reduce the number of administrative tasks required by managers and employees at the beginning and end of each year, having to take time away from daily processes to fill out extensive appraisal forms. As far back as 2015, several high-profile companies, including Accenture, General Electric, and Netflix, all announced that they would be shedding the conventional performance review structure in favor of continuous, real-time feedback and solutions. Abandoning these old ways of thinking and embracing the nature of how people change, which is in small increments over time, not in huge strides once a year, can only benefit the firm. Out of this can also come a better promotional structure. It is a myth that a formal rating structure is required to evaluate if someone is ready to take the next steps. Employees should only be rated against themselves over time, not others, to determine if they are ready for advancement. In place of these reviews should be more frequent check-ins between managers and employees, discussions, not one-way feedback, so employees can voice their concerns, aspirations, and ask for help where they need it. Providing a forum like this is likely to increase employee satisfaction with a sense of being heard and supported, which is lacking in the current process. The last recommendation comes out of trying to find a solution for the retrenchment through employee displacement that has been highlighted throughout the analysis. Employees often live in fear of losing their job throughout the year to technology enhancements, automation, or firm restructuring. These happen despite the substantial number of open jobs the firm is trying to hire for. During a displacement, the employee is not given advance notice or time to find another position. There should be a program implemented to try and match these positions marked for duplication or no longer being needed with the open positions across the firm. This process is called redeployment, and during the pandemic, it has been gaining traction as firms faced either rapid growth or rapid downsizing as they adjusted their business strategies. It is not without its challenges, especially for the employees whose careers are being put in the balance, but it does offer an option for them to explore before having to face being back on the unemployment line. The program needs to be centered around people rather than a singular process. It should be focused on realizing the full potential of the workforce and finding employees roles that will encourage continued growth within the company. This is a large undertaking and would require significant resources, but with the time saved by eliminating the cumbersome annual review process outlined above, the effort can be redirected here to support this process. Additionally, the effort that is being put into the retrenchment program can be redirected here as well to alleviate some of the resource expansion needed to support a program like this. The firm would also have the added benefit of jobs being filled and not having to pay severance for the displaced employees. Not every strategic issue can be solved easily or quickly, but the issue of talent retention at BNY Mellon can start to be resolved through these recommendations. Each one serves to benefit not just the employees, but the company as a whole. They are geared at a better work environment and keeping the talent in-house with a better work-life balance that will encourage loyalty to the firm. Some suggestions will take more effort to implement or pivot from the current model, but none have the negative impact that the loss of talented staff has had on the firm and should be at least attempted to help resolve the issue. This ends our journey through the financial services industry at BNY Mellon. I hope it was informative and engaging, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.